Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture number 42 for the subject of software design and architecture. ITech 4129. I am your course instructor Fahad Anwar. So students, before I start my today's lecture discussion, I would like to give you a little bit recap about our last lecture. So students, if you remember what we discussed in our last lecture, we discussed about cohesion and coupling, where we see how a good design should have minimized coupling and high cohesion, and then we see different types of cohesion and coupling, and we see what are the different approaches for coupling, and we also see different approaches for cohesion as well. And then we also compare these two approaches, and we also see their differences between cohesion and coupling, and we get a clear picture and idea about what actually cohesion and coupling represents in software design and architecture, and what actually their purpose is. And we conclude at the end of our last lecture is a good design should have or must have minimized coupling and high cohesion. So students, let's formally start our lecture number 42. So students, here are the brief objective for our today's lecture discussion. In this lecture we actually see how analysis model is actually translated into software design, or you can say we will see the relationship between analysis model and software design model. And in the second part we will cover about the journal model for software design process. So here is a brief objective for our today's lecture discussion. So students, let's formally start our lecture number 42 discussion. So students, now you can see on the most right side of this diagram about analysis model representing in this circle, where you can see we have different elements of analysis model which we already have been discussed in unified modeling language and in our early lectures. And on the right side we have a design model, and in this design model we have different types of design, like procedural design, which we also call a component design, and then interface design, architectural design, and at the most last layer we have a data design. So students, this analysis model we already have been covered in our early lectures, and on the right side this design model already have been covered in our early lectures. But the purpose here is we are now heading towards the end of our this course. Our course almost have been ended, and now I actually want to show you what actually is the relationship between analysis model and software design, and how we are going to translate this analysis model into software design. And this diagram actually shows you a mapping from analysis model to design model, and in this mapping you can also see that from where we get actually a procedural design, and what part of analysis model actually contributes in the interface design, and what part are of analysis model is actually contributing in architectural design, and how data dictionary and the entity relationship diagram actually contributing in a data design. So in this diagram is actually I am showing you the mapping between analysis model to the software design as well. So students, uh, now we are actually going to ending of this course. So if I say about this mapping from analysis to software design, so students, as we discussed many times, software design can be stated with a single word: quality. So we can say design is actually the place where quality is fostered in software engineering. So design actually provides us with representation of software that can be assessed for quality. So we can say design is the only way that we can accurately translate a customer requirement into a quality software product or a system. So your software design actually serves as the foundation for all the software engineering and software support that should be followed. So we can say, like, without design we risk building an unstable system, like one that will fail when small changes are made, and one that may be difficult to test, whose quality cannot be assessed unless or until in the late software process. So when we can say time is short and many dollars have already been, you can say, have been spent, so explaining the idea concept of something usually with graphical diagrams with the intention to build from the explanation. So design is actually representation of a product or a system with sufficient detail for implementation. So from our understanding of the problem, we start building the software. So translating the analysis model into design model, so map the information from the analysis model to the design representations like data design, architectural design, interface design, and procedural design. And this mapping or translation is actually have been shown in this diagram, how we can translate from analysis model into software design. So students, in this you can see that each of the elements of analysis model actually provides information which is necessary to create the four design models which are actually required for a complete specification of design. So the flow of information during software design is also shown in this figure. You can see that how these are actually mapping from analysis to design model. So software requirements, we can say, like functional behavioral models are actually feed by the design task like that. So using one of a number of design methods, like design task produces a data design and architectural design, interface design, and component design as well. So the students, data design actually transforms the information domain model which actually created during analysis into the data structure that will be required to implement the software. So data objects are relationships which actually defined in the entity relationship diagram, or ER diagram you also known as. So and the detailed data content, we can say, depicted in the data dictionary, which provide the basis for data design activity as well. So students, part of this data design, it may can occur in conjunction with other design of software architecture as well. So more detailed design, data design occurs as each software component is designed. So architectural design, we can say, defines a relationship between major structural elements of the software. So design patterns can be used to achieve these requirements that have been defined for the system, and their constraints which can affect the way in which the architectural design patterns can be applied as well. So this is actually how we can map from analysis model to design model. So students, architectural design representation, a framework of a computer, actually we can say that can be derived from the system specification analysis model, and the interaction of subsystems actually defined within the analysis model. So the interface design, in this design model you can see that the interface design actually describes how the software communicate within itself with system like that interoperate with it, and with humans who use it as well. So an interface actually implies a flow of information and a specific type of behavior, you can say. So therefore we can say that data and control flow diagrams provide much of the information required for interface design. So data and control flow diagrams are actually mapped towards the interface design, which actually provide us a much information which are actually required to build a interface design. And then last is about procedural design. Students, this procedural design is also known as component level design. So this procedural design actually transforms structural elements of the software architecture into a procedural description of software components. So information obtained from, as you can see in this diagram, information obtained from process specification, and the information obtained from control specification, and the information obtained from state transition diagrams actually serve as the basis for component design. So students, here you can see how all of this analysis model is actually mapped into software design, and how we can translate the analysis model into software design, and what actually the analysis as is actually being worked out behind the design model. So students, it's a very important diagram. All of these concepts in analysis model and design model have been discussed, and in this slide we actually see that how a analysis model actually mapped to a design model, and what are the analysis entities or analysis elements working behind the different types of designs contained in the design model. So students, the next important point is we are going to discuss is a general model of the software design process. What actually is a general design process? You can say I am not talking about an architectural design or a detailed design. Here I am actually talking about a general model of the design process. What is the overall general model for the design of any software or any project? So it's also our last topic for this course. So students, as we discussed many times, software design is basically a description of structure of the software which we need to be implemented, like data models and structures used by the systems, their interfaces between system components, and sometimes the algorithm used as well. So designers do not arrive at a finished design immediately, but develop that design iteratively. As I said you many times earlier, design is an iterative process. You do not arrive at a finished design immediately, but you need to develop your design iteratively. So you should add formality and detail as they develop their design, with constant like backtracking to convert earlier designs, etc. So if you see in this figure, it's basically an abstract model of this design process, which actually shows the input to the design process activities, and the documents produced as output from this design process. As you can see, we have a design inputs from where we have performed certain design activities, from where we get certain design outputs. So student, this diagram actually shows that the stages of design process are sequential. So we can say, in fact, this design process activities are basically interleaved. So feedback from one stage to another and consequent design work is inevitable in all the design processes. So students, I am not here to describe you about what are design inputs, what are the design activities, what are the design outputs. All of these different elements of design inputs, design activities, and design outputs we already have been discussed. I am only providing you a general view for a design process, and I am telling you about a detailed idea behind this design process, how actually it works. So students, most software interfaces with other software systems, like they actually include operating system, databases, different middlewares, and other application systems as well. So these actually we can say students, these actually we can say like make up the software platforms or the environments in which the software will execute. So information about different platforms is an essential or necessary input to the design process, because the reason is, students, as you know that designers must decide how best to integrate it with the software's environment. So requirement specification is a description of the functionality the software must provide, and its performance and dependability requirement as well. So if we can say, if the system is to process the existing data, then its description of that data may be included in the platform specification. Otherwise, you can say that this data description must be an input to the design process, so that the system and data organization need to be defined. So student, these activities in this design process actually vary. Like you can say that depending on the type of system being developed. For example, if I give you an example about like a real-time system require timing design, so but may not include a database, so there is no database design involved. So this figure actually shows 4 activities that may be part of the design process for the development of any your system or a project for your company, etc. So if you see into the design process activities, the architectural design we discussed many times, like in this architectural design actually you identify the overall structure of the system, their principal components which we also call subsystems or modules, and we also identify the relationships how they are actually distributed across the system. So it's all about architectural design. And further in that detailed design we discussed about interface design, where you actually define the interface between different system components, and this interface specification must be unambiguous. It needs to be clear. One word or one list or one word does not need to be depict multiple meanings. So it's all about ambiguity. So with a precise interface, a component can be used like without other components have to know how it is implemented. So students, once interface specification are agreed, the components can be designed and developed concurrently. So it's all about interface design. And the next important is about component design. So this component design is actually about, students, where you actually take each system component and design how it will operate. So this may be a simple statement like of the expected functionality to be implemented, like with a specific design left to be programmer. So on the other hand, alternatively we can say like it may be a list of changes to be made to reusable component or a detailed design model. So that design model may be used automatically to generate an implementation. So student, this component design or component design is actually about our procedural design, as we see in our mapping or translation from analysis model to software design, where we see over this component design is actually about procedural design. And the last is about database design in design process activities. Students, this database design is actually about where you actually design the system data structures and how these are to be represented in a database. So I would like to say again, like so students, work here actually depends on what had an existing database is to be reused or a new database is to be created. It all of these things are actually dependent on your requirements. What are you are going to reusability approaches, like we see different software reuse landscape as well. So it also all depends on your requirements and your SRS document. So students, these different software design activities lead to a set of design outputs, as you can see in this figure, like detail and representation of these vary considerably. So for critical system, detailed design documents like setting out precise and accurate description of the system must be produced. So on the other hand, students, if you are utilizing a model driven approach, we already haven't discussed this model driven approach. So if you are utilizing a model driven approach, so these outputs may mostly be consist of diagrams. So on the other hand, if you are utilizing agile methodologies for the development are being used, so the outputs from these design activities may not be separate specification document, but they must be represented in the code of the program as well. So all of these things are depending on what kind of approach you are being used. Either you are being utilizing developing your design for critical system, or you are utilizing a model driven approach, or you are utilizing agile methodology. So all of these things are actually dependent on your requirements, what you are going to build. So here is a general discussion about design process model, which we also known as a generic model for design software design process. So students, still here our lecture number 42 is ended, and our course for this our content or syllabus for this software design and architecture is also ended. So student, in this diagram we actually see in this lecture we see very briefly about what is actually analysis model and design model, and I show you and I explain you how we actually map analysis model to into software design, and I also show you a translation from analysis model to software design. And now in this diagram we see a generic software design process, where we see it actually contain design inputs, and these design inputs goes into design activities. And in these design activities we actually have 4 basic components: architectural design, interface design, component and database design. And from these design activities we get different design outputs which actually are the documents produced as outputs from this design process. So then we see how it actually depends on what kind of system you are going to utilize, like you are going to build a critical system, or you are going to utilize a model driven approach, so or you are going to build a agile methods. So what kind of approach you are going to utilize, model driven approach or agile methods. So your output will be depending on the methodology you are actually being utilized in your design process activities. So student, it's a conclusion of our today's lecture. So student, till here our course is also ended, and our lecture number 42 is also ended. Allah Hafiz.